Alright guys, so we will now have to handle one more problem. If you remember, in the beginning of creating a user profile model, we added one user profile manually from the admin panel, right? If I want to show you this, see this user profile we actually added manually, right? So this is the manual one. So that's the reason we were actually able to edit this user profile for this particular user, right? And if you guys have not added the user profile manually while I was adding it, then you would have got this 404 error, because the user profile of the user that you are trying to edit itself does not exist. Okay, in fact you are trying to edit something that is not there in the first place. So if there is a user profile already exist in the database like this, if the user profile already exists in the database, then only you can edit the user profile. Okay, but what if we have like 1000 users? Is it possible to create a user profile for everybody manually? No, right? So we need to find a solution to this problem now. Now before we directly dive into the code, let's first understand what is missing here and what do we need to eliminate this problem. So what do we need now? Of course, the user profile of the user, right? If we have the user profile of everybody who signs up to our application, then this problem is almost solved, right? So now the question is, how do we create the user profile for everybody? Of course, it's not possible to create it manually, right? So then there is another way now. What if we automatically create a user profile of the user while he is signing up? Okay, he don't know, he is just signing up, and the user profile will automatically get created from the code. Okay, so that is possible, right? And this is the permanent solution to this problem. So how? Let me show you that. So now go back to the code editor, and in the accounts views, okay, so we are actually registering the user from this view, register view, right? So if you notice, in here we are doing this user.save. okay, so what this means is, here the user is being created. Okay, that means the user ID is being generated. Okay, with that user ID we can actually create the user profile for this particular user, right? So based on this user, what we will do, we will first simply say create user profile. Okay, so first of all, let's create a object of this user profile. Okay, profile is equal to user profile. Okay, so now we have the profile object. So now what we need to do, we will actually have to say profile dot user underscore ID, that is equal to this user. Okay, this user dot ID. Okay, because this ID is being generated here, right? That ID we are using here and connecting to this profile. Okay, so now let's say profile dot, let's set a default profile picture. Okay, because we don't know anything else about this particular user, right? So that's the reason we will simply create a default profile picture, profile picture, profile underscore picture is equal to, we will simply have to say default user dot png. Okay, so this default user dot png, we will have to put it inside the media folder. Okay, so we'll do that in a moment, but before that we will simply say profile dot save. So now this user profile is created, but it does not have any other value except the default profile image. If you go here and in the user profile, we don't know the address, city, state, we don't know anything about this guy. So that's the reason we simply set the default profile picture for this particular user. Okay, so now this profile is created. So what will happen is, when this code runs, when the user just gets created, the user profile also gets created. After that, this activation code will run. Okay, so this code actually is going to run behind the scenes. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is, we need to actually put the default profile image. So let's go to this media and we'll right click and create a new folder. I'll call it default. So inside this default folder, I'll have to put the default image. So I have this default user image. I'll copy this and I'll simply go to show in Explorer. So in this default folder, I will put it here. Alright, so now this is set up. Now let's try. Okay, so what I'll do, I will simply log out from here and I'll register. Let's say R. Okay, I'll click on this register now. Okay, so this has now sent a verification email, but let's ignore that. But what we actually want to see is we need to see if the user profile is created or not. Okay, let's go and see. Now you can see the user profile is created and the default user is set. Okay, so this is the default user profile is set. Okay, actually all these extra things he can edit from his my account page, but what we actually wanted is to create one entry for this user profile. Okay, so that is now automatically generated. If you go to, okay, I'll verify this email quickly. Okay, so now this is account is verified and I will log in. Let's see if the if we are getting any error. Now you can see there is no error and you can actually edit this particular user's profile. Okay, so let me add something here. Save. All right, so everything is set up now, right? So that's how we solve this problem. Okay, thank you.